my fellow bounty hunters, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of RobaFett, and yes, I just got out of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I gotta say, overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I was honestly really looking forward to this movie. It had such hype, and it honestly had a lot of disappointing trailers for me because I was like, wow, we are just really giving away a lot in the trailers here. The first movie was like lightning in a bottle, something that's just really special, and something that's really hard to recapture again, and that's something that I feel like happens to this movie. It is very good, like I said. I almost walked out of it just really loving it, but as I started to think about it, and as I started to talk to some other people about it, I did have some nagging issues that I actually remember bothering me during the course of the movie. Of course, it was directed by James Gunn. He directed it the first time. This time around, he tries to flesh out the characters more, and that's something I really appreciate. Character development is something that's very important to me, and as much as I love action sequences and there being plenty of them, a lot of movies suffer because a lot of directors are afraid that the audience is not going to be very receptive if they try to do too much of it. For me, as long as they go hand in hand, it's just fine. I gotta say, you feel for almost every character in this movie. There's just so much more that's explored, and while a lot of things seem to happen very quickly in this movie, almost too quickly, like I think some of that might just be due to miniseries-itis, which is something that I think a lot of us have. We get used to having all this time for things to develop, and then we go back to watching movies, and things just seem way too quick. Chris Pratt does a great job in this movie, but he's much more reserved in this movie. It's not quite as witty as the last movie. There are some jokes that are just way over the top in this movie. There is just, especially Yondu's men, they just are kind of a wacky bunch, and there's just a lot of stuff that sort of happens. There's some strange scenes in this movie that will just kind of have you scratching your head, because there's even one scene where I thought, maybe this is a joke. You know, this is just a joke, right? And then it ended up not being a joke, and I was like, wow, and you'll know what scene I'm talking about if and when you see the movie, if you haven't seen it, or if you've seen it already. Everybody knows that my favorite actor of all time, Kurt Russell, is in this movie, and he does a really great job. Unfortunately, a lot of what he has to do in this movie is just explain himself and who he is and why he does what he does, and explain the connection between himself and Star-Lord. Just a lot of exposition. There's also these golden characters that are in it. I'm sure you've seen them on the trailer, and they didn't bother me at first, but I'm just gonna let you guys know they sort of persist throughout the rest of the movie, because the movie seems to need an antagonist, and it gets thrust on them for a good majority of the movie. They just weren't a very good antagonist. They almost got annoying. I understood them being in the beginning of the movie, but I could have done without them being in the rest. There is something that they reveal in the post-credit scenes that really does actually add something to it, add something to the movie, but other than that, that's another thing. This movie did add a lot to the characters. However, I don't know if it added a whole lot to the MCU as a whole. Nothing really happened in this movie that really pushed any story elements forward towards the main goal of Infinity War. Nothing really happens in this movie. If you're going in this movie thinking, what is this going to add to Infinity War? Really nothing. I kept waiting for that moment when something was going to be introduced, and I was like, wow, that really adds to the universe, and it really didn't. And who knows, maybe that's coming up in Thor Ragnarok or one of the other movies that's coming out. Maybe they're saving it for that. But as far as adding to the MCU goes, this movie doesn't do a whole lot of it. This movie does have some really good music. Unfortunately, I don't feel like the selection in this movie was as good. I honestly felt like there was parts in this movie where they would be playing a song that they didn't need to be playing at certain parts, or even, you know, playing the music, that's great, but they felt the need to explain why they were playing the music. At other parts, they were playing music and then they stopped playing it, and I was like, keep playing that song, what are you doing? I gotta say, one of my favorite parts of this movie is Yondu. They really, like I said, they make you feel for every character, and they really do explore his character and really just show you some stuff that really make you care about him, which is so surprising. There's so many characters that they make you care about in this. Baby Groot is just amazing. It's an amazing idea, amazing concept. I was really worried they were going to overdo it with him, but honestly, I just couldn't get enough of that aspect of the movie. I thought that was a really good idea and a good thing moving forward. The humor in this movie is it's very good. For most of the movie. There are some times when it's just over the top and you're just like, I should never be reminded I'm watching a movie. I feel like when I'm watching a movie, unless you're watching Deadpool where he reminds you every 5 seconds, if you have those moments where you're kind of taken out of the movie for a minute, that's really not a good thing in my opinion, and that does happen quite a few times with the jokes in this movie. They kind of take you out of it, and I'm just like, wow, that was kind of weird. The action sequences in this movie are really awesome. Over the top. Drax is probably the funniest part of this movie. He has the best lines in this movie. They didn't really give him a whole lot of character development, but what they didn't give him, he makes up for with his lines in this movie. So overall, I really did enjoy it. I think you should go see this in theaters. It's definitely worth going to see. I was really excited to see Kurt Russell back in action, aside from being in those Fast and the Furious movies, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna give Guardians of the Galaxy an 8 out of 10. I did want to keep the spoiler free, guys, so that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about the movie. But let me know what you think of this movie down in the comment box below, please. Hit me up down there, let me know what you guys are thinking. And if you liked today's video, well, you know what you can do. You can hit the like button, that's pretty much what you do when you like a video. And if you're new around here, if you haven't already, don't forget to blast that subscribe button. And as always, guys, stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you later.